Welcome back, everyone. It's the Bourbon Judge. Hey, before we dive into today's episode, a couple of housekeeping items. So first and foremost, from a barrel pick standpoint, so I just opened up to all my patrons our Starlight Bourbon that we picked, finished in X-Honey barrel. So that is available for all my patrons. That one's in. It is absolutely a fantastic bottle. I think everyone agreed, hands down, it's truly a fantastic, amazing pick. Also coming in the next couple weeks, actually, we have the ASW, the Fiddler, as well as a Penelope Architect pick. So we got two different picks coming in the next couple weeks. Those will also be available to patrons as well. So if you're interested in becoming a patron, definitely go ahead and check me out over on Patreon. And speaking of patrons, let's go ahead and welcome our newest patrons that joined the, let's call it the Judge family, because we truly are a family. So let's go ahead and welcome our newest patrons, our good friend John Mostek, Shondell Watson, David Cook, Stan Hustle, gotta love that name, by the way, Stan. Derek Long, and then last but not least, Brian Kramer. So thank you, gentlemen, all for supporting the Bourbon Judge and for becoming patrons, as well as for all my other patrons, ladies and men. I have a great group of patrons. Really appreciate your support, and honestly, all of you help for this to come to fruition. So much love and respect to all my patrons, as well as everyone else who watches the channel and subscribes and watches the videos and the episodes each week. Thank you all. All right, so today's episode. So I'm going to give you, just in my opinion, these are top 10 up-and-coming brands, right? So just top 10 up-and-coming brands. Again, this is just my opinion. I think these brands, there are a couple things. Number one, some of these are smaller craft distilleries. Some of them are actually probably on the rise and are not even really craft distilleries anymore. They're almost mainstream. And then some of these are just brands that where they're sourcing their whiskey single barrels, but some of them are like, where they're blending them, but they're just producing and putting out, rather, I should say, some fantastic blends. So, even though they're sourcing their whiskey, they still have a wonderful palate, and I've liked them myself, or I've heard great things from my patrons about them. So just want to kind of go ahead and give everyone a quick update regarding 10 up and coming brands that you should definitely be on the lookout for. And I'll also tell you the reason why. Cool? So, of course, I'm going to end my list with a nice little asterisk, right? I'll end it with an asterisk. And last but not least, I'm going to go ahead and give you my patrons. I always, ask them for their input as well. So I'm going to call out some of my patrons, their names, and then some of the distilleries or just brands in general that they're telling me about and like where they're from and so forth. All right? Cool. So these are not in order, definitely not in order for my top 10 and as well as for my patrons as well. But let's go ahead and dive into it. All right. So the first one, again, not in order. The first brand I think everyone should be on the lookout for. To me, their rye whiskey that I had a chance to try on the channel earlier, I was equally impressed. I had one of my patrons over last night, my buddy Gene. We sipped this whiskey and he was like, Judge. He's like, I'm ordering this bottle. He's like, I've never heard of them before. And he missed the review. When I had the episode, he missed the review. He's like, I'm ordering this bottle because it is just a different rye whiskey and it is flat out amazing. Coming out of California, this is a Corbin Cash Distillery. This is their 1917 Merced Rye. This whiskey and this brand, absolutely amazing. I've heard from others in the whiskey community as well that they too, like a lot of folks out in California, that they've had this in some of their other products, and they really do enjoy Corbin Cash as a whole. Flat out fantastic rye whiskey, very unique, very different, but I think the quality, they do everything from grain to bottle. I love what they're putting out. This was an amazing bottle, and I'm looking forward to getting my next bottle of it as well. All right, that's number one. Second on the list, I don't have all these currently in stock, but second on the list, this is going to be a brand out of Florida. I'm actually having them on the channel this week, upcoming week, on Tuesday, August 15th. Check me out, by the way, at 9 p.m. This is Two Soul Spirits. So two gentlemen out of Florida. They are essentially sourcing single barrels, relabeling, putting them like under their own label, if you will, under Two Soul Spirits. But I've had some of their whiskey, and I was definitely really excited about it. So I'm actually going to have them on the channel. So make sure you check out Two Soul Spirits, and more specifically, check out the live stream on Tuesday night at 9 o'clock Eastern, coming up August 15th. I'll have on James and Chad from Two Soul Spirits. Definitely another brand to look for as well. Again, buying single barrels, but great whiskey. All right. Coming to number 3 spot. Number 3. So this is a brand out of the great state of Ohio. Whoop, whoop. Got a lot of patrons, my family out in Ohio. I am slowly becoming a big fan of this distillery. I've had numerous products from them, from like the small batch to like the specialty bottle here, and they've all honestly been fantastic. Also at a really good price as well. But Middle West Spirits out of Columbus, Ohio. Oh man, this ported pumpernickel rye whiskey. It's so good. It just deserves to be like in its own category. It's amazing. They are truly an amazing craft distillery out of Columbus, Ohio. Shout out to Middle West Spirits. All right, that's number 3. Coming in the number 4 spot. So number 4, I actually didn't pick just one. I'm actually picking 2. I'm picking 2 here because they are equally good, but in different ways. So coming out of the number 4 spot, I'm calling them the number 4 spot, the Georgia. You have ASW Distillery, which by the way, that's one of my barrel picks coming in. I just finished my other bottle of ASW, otherwise I would bring it out. But ASW Distillery out of Georgia, as well as 13th Colony. Everything 13th Colony they touch gold. The bourbon, the rye, the double oaked. I mean, it's 13th Colony, folks. I mean, everything that they produce is literally gold. So 13th Colony, I just hope I can find myself a bottle of their newest double oak, because I'm pretty much out of my current double oak. But hey, it is what it is. But 13th Colony out of Georgia, as well as ASW, that 4 spot for Georgia whiskey. Georgia whiskey is truly, they're producing some fantastic whiskey. These 2 plus some other distilleries as well. I'm just calling Georgia out in a special category. All right, number 5. So number 5 was a brand I had last night for the first time, and I was like, wow. So they are sourcing their whiskey. This is a husband and wife team. They're sourcing their whiskey, and they're basically taking blends from, or barrels from Kentucky and Indiana. But this is K. Luke's. So K. Luke is the brand. Again, it's a husband and wife team. Kind of started I think the family, they own several different liquor stores, and like, you know, everyone else, they wanted to have their hand and you know, picking and sourcing great barrels, and they're blending them together. I know the husband, he is essentially like a whiskey sommelier for the most part. And when I had their blend last night, the K. Luke, I think it was a Toasted last night that Jane gave me a sample of, it was wow. So I need to add K. Luke's to my collection officially now that I've tried it. And again, thank you to my man Gene. All right, before we get on to number 6, 3 quick easy favors. Number 1, hit the like button. Number 2, drop me a comment. Let me know what are some other up and coming brands that I should be aware of, as well as everyone out there. And last but not least, please make sure you also subscribe to the channel. Cheers. Whew, delicious. All right, number 6. I finally had a chance to try this while out in Kentucky last week at a bar. Heard a lot of great things about it from various patrons of mine, and I will say my patrons were absolutely spot on. So Green River, their weeded bourbon, that weeded one is really, really good. So Green River out of Kentucky, putting out some really good whiskey, especially that weeded bourbon that I tried at a bar. I was definitely impressed. Definitely need to get myself a bottle of that as well to add to my collection. Great quality, another new brand out of Kentucky, and we'll see what, you know, Green River has like in the future. So that's number 6. Number 7, the great state of Texas. Now these 2 ladies are, I've had, again, more of these. I heard about them from my patrons specifically. A lot of my patrons that are actually in Texas, like my good friend Oscar, for example, and Tab and others. But these ladies are putting out some fantastic whiskey out of the state of Texas, Milam and Greene. I need to actually get these ladies on the channel. So started and ran by 2 ladies, Milam and Greene. They're putting out some fantastic whiskey. I had more of their products when I was out in Kentucky last week. I had several different like single barrels at different bars and restaurants and so forth. And I'm telling you, each and every one was better. It's not like your traditional Texas whiskey where it's like extremely like powering, if you will. It's definitely completely different. And part of that is because they do, you know, age their whiskey in certain states and then they blend it together. But Milam and Greene, folks, I am telling you, that is one to add to your list. I've had them now on 3 occasions, and they've gotten better with each and every release that I've tried. So I need to definitely add that to my collection and grab a bottle the next time I see one at a store. So Milam and Greene, number 7. Coming in the number 8 spot. Whew. This brand, they're up and coming. They are putting out not good whiskey, not amazing whiskey, flat out great. And you can capitalize that. You can add an exclamation point at the end, but great. We had this last night, and it was one of our top picks between myself and my good friend Gene, coming out of Canada. This is Found North. So I've had Found North on the channel several times. Every batch that Nick and his brother produce, the Taylor brothers, I call them, produce, they're always fantastic. Amazing quality with the whiskey that you're getting from Found North. A little bit on the pricier side, but also higher age statements. I'm loving Found North. Absolutely amazing. So Found North is number 8 rather. All right, coming the number 9 spot, another distillery out of Nevada. The family, they do everything from the grain to the glass. They grow all their own grains, they distill it, they age it, they bottle it. This is one of my other future upcoming barrel picks is already in the works and should be hopefully in the next month or two. This is Frey Ranch. Frey Ranch out of Fallon, Nevada. This is a different single barrel that I have here, but my pick will be coming in, the Judge, along with SLB and Stuff and Whiskey, our joint pick that's coming in very soon. Frey Ranch whiskey is so incredibly good. If you have not tried it, you are doing yourself a disservice. Please make sure you get yourself a bottle of Frey Ranch, either the bourbon or the rye. That's the number 9 spot. All right, the number 10, before I get to my asterisk, the number 10, cool story. So I am downtown Louisville, walking around, just kind of hanging out. Mrs. Judge is like, you go out to bars. I want to hang out in the hotel and just take a nap. I'm like, okay. Send me out, sip whiskey by myself? Sure. So I end up in the tasting room for this up-and-coming brand. I've seen their brand myself, on the shelves and so forth, but I never tried it. So I was like, hey, they have their own tasting room. Why not get a pour? Met the cool bartender. Her name is Erin. And I had a bottle of their blended whiskey. They are sourcing their whiskey for now until they can put out their own distillate. But for now, they are sourcing their whiskey. And it was flat out amazing. Make sure the next time you see a bottle of Buzzard's Roost, you at least get a pour of it at a bar. And if not, definitely buy a bottle. Their whiskey is truly fantastic. Again, I saw it on shelves and I was like, how good can it be? It's just another source product. Kind of, and I'll do a full review of this down the road. But absolutely amazing. Buzzard's Roost. All right. My asterisk. Why is it my asterisk? The reason why this is my asterisk because their small batch products are okay. This is a distillery out of the state of Pennsylvania. Their small batch products are just okay. But their single barrels, and this is the reason why I give it an asterisk, their single barrels, which are harder to find, but if you can find their single barrels at cask strength, of course, they are flat out, and I've had about 3 of them, maybe 4, are flat out amazing. You're gonna laugh at this one. Kenzie. Yes, I said it. Kenzie out of Pennsylvania, Philadelphia to be exact. This brand, coming from this distillery, absolutely amazing. If you can find one of their single barrel cask strengths, they are truly amazing. This is one that I got from South Jersey, one of my local shops, and at $45, there's no way you can beat this dollar for dollar. Flat out amazing. And this is a Zinfandel finish. All right. So now we go on to our patrons. I love this. So my patrons, and honestly, I was kind of shocked by some of these because, number one, I've never heard of most of these. I haven't heard of most of these. Some I've heard of, but not all. But these are definitely some up-and-coming brands and, really cool to kind of hear. All right. So number 1, my good friend Chad Martin says Driftless Glen out of Wisconsin is apparently amazing. I've seen Driftless Glen products, but I've never tried it. So Chad, thanks for the heads up. Number 2, Jim Matthews and Shondell Watson said Ben Holiday Bottled and Bond out of Missouri is a bottle you must get. I've seen that bottle come up, I think on Sealbox. So now I know. Thanks, Jim and Shondell. I got to get a bottle of that. Now this is one I definitely never heard of before. My good friend Tony Lima, number 3. Tony Lima said Swilled Dog out of West Virginia is producing some great whiskey. All right. Next time I go visit Cousin Nita and I'm driving through West Virginia, I'm gonna stop at Swilled Dog. Appreciate it, Tony. Rob Sullivan says J. Henry out of Wisconsin is definitely also producing some fantastic whiskey. Now that's a good one. I've heard of J. Henry before. I know Nancy Fraley, our good friend who works with not only J. Henry but also Joseph Magnus and other brands. I've heard of J. Henry before, so good to know. Thanks, Rob. Rob Schwartz says Highwire out of Charleston, South Carolina. I missed that. I was just in Charleston about 9 months ago. I did not know that, so now I know. Next time I get back to Charleston, I gotta check out Highwire. My good friend, patron David Burkett says Whiskey Acres out of Illinois. All right, if you live in Illinois, Blake, David, if you're near Highwire, if you're near Whiskey Acres, rather, please make sure you let me know. Maybe I can get a sample. Let me know. All right, David, I appreciate it. Number 7, my good friend Liz Broughton. So Liz says, Liz, and I know Blake talked about this too. Liz said, Journeyman out of Michigan, the Corset Whips and Whiskey won tons of awards, the great single barrels. Liz, as well as a lot of other people, said that it's their cast strength version, like their single barrels are fantastic. And I've heard that as well. And I've tried one, I believe, so far, and it was really, really good. So good heads up, Liz. And last but not least, my good friend Lance Powell said Hard Truth out of Indiana is producing some great whiskey. And Lance, I can absolutely say, I agree with you, my friend. I had a chance to try Hard Truth for the first time out in Kentucky just last week or 2 weeks ago, and it was absolutely amazing. Another really good pour at a bar. So that's another bottle I need to add to my collection. So my patrons have spoken. This is good stuff. There's a lot of great whiskey out there, folks. But as we say in this courtroom, peace, cheers, and most important, salute. Take care, everyone. See ya.